Good morning. So, Matthew is teaching, and he's teaching through parables. We hear quite a few today. It's like a mashup. So let's talk about some of these parables one by one. The first one is about a mustard seed. And at the end, the mustard seed has this bush that is so big it is like a tree. And so for us, if we were living in the time of Jesus and we were embedded in the vocabulary of the Old Testament, if we heard tree, we would probably think of the trees of Lebanon, the great cedars of Lebanon. What that means is it's a shortcut for the empire. It is for the kingly, successful empire. And so we hear this, and it both brings us to the end times, because this has a lot of eschatological, it's a big word for end times, themes and meanings. But when we think about the kingdom, we all should be thinking about a place that is better than any fairy tale, anything that Disney can create. It is a kingdom that is built better and more beautiful than any palace any human hands can make. And it is done with a common herb, the mustard seed. This kingdom is built with the very things that are in your cupboard, the things that give flavor to your foods without overtaking them. The yeast is another wonderful opening into what the kingdom is like. So in the Old Testament, yeast was predominantly used to talk about corruption. Corruption can be sticky and can spread like an infection. But instead, Jesus is using this yeast in a surprising way. He is talking about the kingdom as being hugely extravagant. So this woman takes yeast and puts it in 3 measures of flour. Now, how many of you remember the Old Testament story where Abraham is out, he gets 3 visitors, and he says to them, "Hold on a minute, I will create a feast for you." And in that feast, Sarah takes 3 measures of flour to make bread, and Abraham calls for the calf. You guys, he's going to butcher a calf, and he's going to butcher it, cook it, and serve it as he says to his guests, "Hang on a minute." Right? The point is the same there as it is here. It's extravagant. Abraham is opening his home and making it huge and available for everyone. And so here we have it where she takes yeast and she puts it in the bread, and enough bread for 100 to 150 people. That's a lot of bread. That might be enough bread to feed anyone and everybody who wants to come. It's extravagant. It multiplies. It's big. So then we have the kingdom in the present time is hidden and working in unexpected ways. So we have the treasure and the pearl. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure. The plowman finds the treasure. He runs, he sells everything, he gets every resource he has to buy that field. But here's the thing, the treasure is hidden. And it is discovered by someone who isn't even looking for it. The plowman's just doing his job. He's just plowing the field. And he finds this amazing treasure. And that's juxtaposed to the merchant who is looking. The merchant's out there, and he's looking for the greatest of treasures, and he's looking the pearls. So in biblical times, when this was written, the pearl would have been like a diamond is today. And maybe even a diamond has lost its luster today because we know how to make them, but it's the greatest, it's the purest. And so we have someone who is looking for it and finds it, and finds the kingdom. This kingdom that is big and extravagant and is better than any place you can imagine. Better than Versailles. The other thing about these parables that is really, that can help us understand the very ending better, and that is, in the one with the plowman and the one with the merchant, they find something and then they sell and then they buy. That's not really normally how we do things. Normally, the ordering is different. And so in the end, when Jesus says, Master of the household, who brings out his treasure what is new and what is old. So there's something about this new and old. And typically, when we think about wisdom, when we think about experience, we think about what do we know of old that we can apply and inform us for the new. But Jesus is saying, hold on a minute. Let's learn from the new and apply it to the old. Jesus says over and over, I have not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. And he's calling them, and every one of us, to look at our old laws in new ways. In new ways. And so, here we have these lovely parables. that draw a picture of the kingdom. The kingdom is found in your homes. And at the same time, it is a place that is beyond our wildest imaginations. We can't build it. God does that. It is a place that is so abundant. It is like when I put too much yeast in my pizza dough, and I've got all this dough coming out over, right? But we can punch it down, and it makes delicious pizza. So I would invite you all to close your eyes. What does the kingdom look like for you? What can you think about that is filled with beauty, illuminating, luscious beauty like a pearl? What is so sustaining that in the field there is a treasure in which that field will produce over and over and sustain everyone in the kingdom? What in your kingdom is big and beautiful and valuable and useful? Many of us think of the kingdom, think of heaven as a place of pure love. How many people think of it that way? Raise your hands high. If you don't, can you think of it that way? Pure love. Jesus keeps telling us at the end time, evil will be separated out. So my challenge to you is, find your kingdom. Find that place where you are loved completely, unconditionally. And I mean place metaphorically, but you can draw a picture if you're literal. It doesn't matter. For me, that place has me as one of many. Not better, not worse. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to do anything but be in the kingdom and accept love. For me, it is every relationship that I have ever had that I have done wrong to or I have been wronged in is repaired. I don't have to worry about it anymore. God has taken care of it. It is a place where I do not have to worry about whether I have food or whether my hair is okay or whether I can get into my hairdresser. And for those of you who really know me, whether my cuticles are a mess. It's a place where I shine from within in beauty because I am made exactly as God has chosen to make me. That's a wonderful place, is it not? Everyone is invited into this kingdom. The doors are wide open. And here's the craziest part about it, folks. You will die and get there, but you don't have to be dead to get there. Yeah, how about that? You can be in the kingdom anytime you choose. Not saying it doesn't take a lot of work. And so for us Christians, the question is always, 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 how do we be the pearl for someone? How do we be the treasure? How do we be the bread that will feed? How do we be the fish? And that is the extra special place of the kingdom for me. Because I know if I am struggling to find the kingdom in my own heart or in my own headspace, if I reach out to try and make the kingdom for someone else, I just get dragged right in there with them. And I'm in the kingdom. How awesome is that? So folks, you can go kicking or screaming, or you can just be there. You can look for it and find the door. Or you can just be on the way that you are and find it. That is how miraculous God's kingdom is. And that is why probably one of the favoriteest prayers of all Christians begins with, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So God is not up there in heaven, separated from all of us. God is heaven. And when we choose to be with God, we are in the kingdom. Choose God. Amen.